unpopular opinion too that I think you might disagree with, Chana.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Maybe a lot of people might.
Let's go.
So I'm actually thinking I might prefer the Auro-Matic upmix to native.
Oh yeah, you
anything.
Said I already know.
So all right, so check it out, right? The argument for upmixing is always like, Atmos doesn't have any content, right? It's so silent up there.
Right.
Well, guess what? I have some native Auro content, movies. Mm-hmm. I muted the ear level speakers, and a lot of time it's silent too. It's silent up, so it's not. So I want to make sure that's clear. I'm not talking about which format is better. I'm saying sometimes I think that there's not enough resources for these guys to mix it properly, or maybe they don't know. If I ask you guys, like, what's supposed to be in the height speaker, does anybody know for sure? Like,
somebody actually asked that question on our on one of our videos, on the daily HiFi ones, the cut up ones. How do you know when to use Auro upmixing as opposed to the Dolby Atmos track, and which one? How do you know which one's better? Yeah, and for me, it's just like, well, if I watch a few scenes and I'm like, well, nothing's happening up there, I'll go and turn my ear level amp off, and then we'll run the scene again. I'm like, dude, there should have been something up there. You know, like there's planes flying overhead. Why do I not hear the sound of the planes flying overhead or something like that? Or in the case of like Bumblebee, I'm like, oh, they're just playing the score. Well, that's lame. Yeah. You know, I mean,
what's correct? There's definitely some missed opportunities, because I know even when I did one of upfiring, just to kind of see, you know, can you get a decent sound out of upfiring speakers, and is it convincing enough? So I shut off everything except for the upfiring. You know, back when I was reviewing some speakers, probably 2 years ago, but it was kind of interesting because there were certain parts in that I was like, dang, that would have been a perfect spot for something to happen up there, because visually it did happen up there, but I didn't hear anything. So definitely, you know, sometimes it is hit or miss, you know, with any immersive format. So, and it may come down to budget. It may come down to timeline.
I want to make sure that's clear though, because I'm not saying which format is better, right? Because I've listened to an Auro one, I'm like, I don't like this, right? So I'm not saying, I don't care if there's nothing made in Auro. I'm sure Wilfried wouldn't like that, but it doesn't matter that much to me whether it's in Auro. I think the fact is that there might not be enough resources allocated towards that home mix. Right.
I mean, and then thinking about like what was just released, like the Stallone Daylight was released in Auro. This is an old movie. So it was like Twister, and then they sent me Red Tails, Boss Level. I think the newest one is this Jason Momoa film.
Which one of those do you really want to watch though?
Raven.
No. Yeah, which one do you really want to watch? Like, which one are you excited to watch just for the movie itself? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I think Twister would be
okay.
Great, you know, but you know.
So my point is, maybe maybe it's better to have them just do a great 5.1 or 7.1 mix, and you know, if you don't have time to do the height channels, then that's what it is. You know, let the upmixer do the height. Because I think that that's something you can actually extract, right? In most cases, like, are you in a small room? All right, well, we kind of have an idea what the sound will be in height speakers in a small room. Mid-sized room, large room, it's going to be different. Outdoors, there's probably going to be no reflections up there. So these are things that we kind of know. Anyway, my whole point is, I think upmixing for height speakers, I think, is the way to go. And that's across the board. Atmos, Auro, and I think that might be an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
But I just think that they don't have time to do it. So let the computer do it. Let them handle that one. Anyway.
Let the computer do it.
What do you guys think?
So I know one thing that like Gene's always been saying is like, so you're down mixing Atmos, and no, you're not down mixing Atmos, dude. You select the 5.1 or 7.1 mix, the the Dolby True HD, and that gets upmixed. You don't take Atmos, down mix it, and then re-upmix. No, that's not what you do. What you do is you just take the True HD mix and you upmix that. And for those that don't know, I've talked to some Dolby Atmos mixing engineers. They get delivered a 7.1 mix already. So it's like the studio's already mixed it. So here's the director's intent BS line that everybody's talking about. Like, get the fuck out of here with this. Because there is no director. The director's not there directing Atmos mixing at all. They might have done the 7.1 mix because that's what gets delivered to the Atmos guy. And then the Atmos guy also gets a bunch of sound effects. And so he just pans those objects around best he can for the time limit. Like we're talking about, Elon, your videos, right? How long does your video take? And that's what, like 10 minutes of a video? Imagine a 2-hour fucking movie. How much time do you need to actually put in every single effect Atmos wise that would normally be there in that scene? If they're only going to pay the guy for 2 weeks, what are you going to get? You're going to get a shitty Atmos mix. If you pay the guy for like 2 months of mixing Atmos, then hey, that might actually be good. Yeah. But then again, you
produce stuff, and so do you, Elon, right? You produce. So my question would be, how would you know what to put in height channels?
Well, yeah, kind of piggybacking off of what Chana said. I mean, it really does come down to director's intent, but also the head sound guy that's on this particular movie. One thing that I noticed when I was doing tests with Mad Max Fury Road, it blew my mind, because when I was listening to only the height channels, there's some in the first scene where he's trying to get away from all the dudes and running through the hallway and whatever. I listened to that over and over and over again with all the different Atmos speakers that I had available. And, listening to it over and over, I kind of got to know that scene really, really well. So then when I turned on all the rest of the speakers and listened to it as a full mix, I noticed that some of the Atmos height performances of like grunts and like when he's tussling with other people, throwing him into the water, that kind of thing, those were separate performances than what was coming out of the main ear level speakers. So that is that's probably beyond what most movies are going to do as far as the intense just focus on what Atmos is actually going to be doing. It's not just a copy. It wasn't a copy of what's going on in the ear level speakers copied up top. No, it was a separate performance. Maybe they had, what's his name? What's that actor's name in Mad Max?
Yeah, what's Bane.
Tom Hardy. Yeah. Anywho, they probably had him do some ADR, different performances of grunts and, body checks and all that kind of stuff. And then probably just used those different performances in the different speakers or as objects placed in the different spots. So I think that particular movie, it does come down to director's intent. It does come down to the sound, the head or lead sound guy on this particular movie to just be that extreme about it, because I bet typically you're not going to, budget probably is another thing to think about. They're probably not throwing that much money into the sound mixing part of it, which is a shame, because I love to listen to Mad Max Fury Road because I know it is so detailed when it comes to what will be in the height channels versus what's in the ear level channels. So I wish all movies, had that much money thrown into just the sound mixing part of it.
Interesting. I'm going to have to go back and check that scene again.